came on here to review this single trade for the day. It was my best trade, I think, pretty much ever, I would say, simply because I stuck to 99% of my plan. I didn't stick to my plan in the very last 2 minutes, which would have netted me actually probably about $100 more than where we are right now. If not, at least, no, not $100. I'd say another like 20, 30 bucks. So, all in all, best trade, I think, simply because I followed the rules and it actually paid off on this one. Not just following the rules and it didn't pay off. But that's why I think this was the best trade, because it paid off on top of the rule following. So it was a very simple trade. I actually have screenshots once I get there. Here we go. I didn't realize that was going to come up. There we go. There we go. So got in here. This was right around 8:30ish at some point. Got in here. Stop loss was 22,934. 22,929 actually. So let me put that in. 22,929. That was my stop loss. So all in all, realized RR is 1.83. I know it's less than 2. However, I'm extremely happy with it because I scaled out properly. I held my position longer. I did everything by the book on this one. So I'm extremely grateful that it all worked out as it was supposed to. There's that one, and then there is this screenshot. I guess it's the same screenshot twice. Okay, I'm going to go with the same screenshot twice. I had already made 113 and change prior to even taking this trade, so that was nice. That was actually on gold and a little bit of NQ. However, NQ was not part of the rule following, so I want to make sure that I record this to give me the best possible example of what rule following can actually do. So based on the rule following, I got in here. Let's see, where is it? There it is. Okay. So based on the rules, it actually broke the 200 SMA on the 1 minute chart, bounced higher. I wanted to try to get in here because I saw the bounce coming because of this one candle here. This candle here, along with a smaller volume, and didn't go lower. And the next candle closed above with higher volume. That's my signal of, hey, it's time to get in. However, the following candle moved too quickly for me to get in, and I had to let it go and wait for a pullback. Luckily, I got the pullback, and I got in right there, which was actually at the beginning of this candle here. And the reason I waited for that was because I wanted to see more volume come in. I know if less volume is coming in, then it's probably not going to work out, and it's just going to keep going lower. Therefore, I'm not going to want to get in long, and I want to get in short. So anyways, the reason I'm recording this as well is to record how I was feeling during each minute of the candle, so that I can have that as my future log for myself, and that will help out. So here you go. Okay, right off the bat, I was feeling good that it's going my way. I was very proud of myself that I took the trade when I took my trade. Excellent, it's going my way, which is very good. That's exactly what I want to see. Took my screenshot right there just to make sure that I document it for myself. And then here I thought it was going to go down, and I pure and simply got in too early. However, I was holding on with my conviction because the system works. At the end of the day, I know I am usually on the right side of trades. However, I always exit out early because of emotions. This time I didn't want to exit out early due to emotions. So that's the reason why I left it alone and traded the plan and not just my emotions and the P&L. So that is the reason for that. Because in my opinion, when I'm doing this at this point, I believed right here would have been perfectly fine. I should have gotten out. And then I'm looking at the volume and the way the candle is holding. It was very nice. It was holding out well. And therefore, I believe it was going to go higher. Volume is lower. However, due to the candle structure, it was a good hold. And 22,962.5 here, that is my first target to get out. And there it is, it hits and I sell one. Next target right there, 22,974.25, that's the rough target for the next one. And once that occurs, we get out. This was also the perfect moment I was thinking to move it to break even. However, you'll see here I was also thinking that, wait, if I actually move this to break even, well, I guess you won't see it, but however, I was thinking if I move this to break even, my break even stop loss usually gets hit because I'm too aggressive with the break even stop losses. But luckily in this situation, I am glad it kind of stuck around because I also didn't want to lose my green day. So luckily it did work out in my favor for that. So therefore, I guess I didn't follow that one plan. So that's the reason why I am happy with recording and making sure that I review it. Just waiting it out, just waiting it out. Even during this time, I was thinking, just wait it out. Nothing to do but to wait. Time to watch paint dry. It held out well again. And the goal was if it breaks above this candle, I'll stay. If it breaks below, I'm going to get knocked out and break even anyway. Well, a little bit above break even anyway. Call it a day. But boy, when it was getting down to the lower end of this candle, I was like, man, I should probably just go ahead and lock in. I have $100 up. I should just lock it in. I should not, attempt to hold it out longer all the way up to the max where I believe it can go. I should go ahead and get out. However, I am very happy that I also stuck with my plan because that is the second thing I told myself. No, you need to stay with your trading plan. You need to prove yourself to be consistent. Because currently I do believe my brain is one of those reward addict monkeys where random rewards will treat it and it will feel much better. However, I need to teach myself to hold on to trades longer. And there it is. I'm still setting up my next target to go. Since I'm doing this on my phone, it's a little bit harder to set up targets the way we do on our desktop. So luckily, that's my way of getting around it. Zoomed in, trying to see if it breaks the 9 SMA. The green one is the 9 SMA, the yellow one is the 20 SMA, and the red one is the 200 SMA. Also, the reason I was choosing to go long is because we were already in a green day or an upward trending day overall. Nasdaq's also been hitting new highs, so it only made sense to go long. It doesn't really make too much sense to go short. However, I did still take a short trade earlier in the day, and that's how I ended up making some money. The reason I took the short was because it broke the 20 SMA earlier, and it had a topping formation, so I took it. However, I couldn't hold on to it, and therefore I got out early at maybe a $50 profit at most, which is not right. I should have stuck to my trading plan. If I would have stuck to my trading plan, it would have been up over 200. And that's what I was trying to teach myself here, that usually I have the proper trade idea, I just lack the execution. And so I'm teaching myself here how to execute properly. And this is the proper execution. So here, now I'm thinking if it moves above the range, which is here, so it's already doing a little cupping formation or a little U formation to go upwards. If it breaks this top, then I will move my stop loss just below that range. And I guess here I believed it did move up. Therefore I moved it up. And I'm okay with losing here because that was the plan, right? Let's see, there was a portion where I did get emotional and closed out one contract earlier, and I'll get to that when I get there. However, I was also seeing that now I'm up $300 on the day, and I should probably go ahead and get out because that was a really good RR for that as far as my P&L was concerned, not the actual risk to reward on this trade, because the issue is if I traded my P&L only, then I'd always be stuck trading my P&L only, right? Here's where I got a little bit hesitant and got out a little early on 2 contracts because I did not think it could make it above this. So that's why I started moving my trailing stop loss higher, and then realized no, I am doing it wrong. I need to go back to my plan, move it further down. There's nothing here that shows you that it's going to go down. This is where it was pretty nerve-wracking, I'm not going to lie. The reason it was nerve-wracking is because I could have locked in more than $100 in profit. However, I decided to stick to my trading plan and go lower on my stop loss. But I am very happy that I'm sticking to my plan. I'm sticking with the plan the entire time, luckily. Almost, anyway. Okay, it's holding up nicely. It's holding up the 9 SMA extremely well. That's what I'm thinking here, so I'm just letting you know what I was thinking. It's holding it up. It's moving up. I'm good to go. I don't need to worry about anything. If it breaks the 9 SMA, I already have my trailing stop loss there. I've got no issues. The reason I moved this target down a little bit is because 23,000 would be 23,000 even would be the psych level, and getting out a little bit before the psych level just makes complete sense. Okay, I'm very proud that I held on and it's moving up. Okay, so now if it makes a new or higher high, then what I should be doing is just moving this stop just below that area. That would be the proper stop for me, because that shows you this level here held up nicely. So just under that is amazingly well. Okay, it's right back at that original, or not original, but number 2, the second target. Alright, it hits, so there we go, I'm out again. And the last one, we're just going to let it run all the way almost to the top. I'm trying to look to see where it could possibly get stalled out next, and the next spot I see stalling is roughly here in this area. So I end up making that as my next target instead of the top, where I had originally planned as the psych level. So once I did that, I realized, wait, this thing's actually going higher. So instead of being, a little bit of a chicken, I should actually move it up higher. which is where you'll see me move it up a little bit. That was me talking to myself saying, no, stick to the trade plan. You got this. Just leave it alone. It's going to do its thing. Just let it do its thing. I didn't want to choke the trade there at that point. We were almost there. Okay, to me this is a very, very good area because it's getting overextended, in my opinion. And to be honest with you, since it's a 1 minute chart, I should have kind of just left it alone, called it a day, but I didn't. Because I was assuming it's going to go down at this point, right? It's already had lots of volume moving up, but it's also moving up, so I should have trusted that original trade idea. But do you see the way it's moving up? That's the reason why I was starting to get scared and starting to choke the trade a little bit. However, you'll see if I did not choke my trade, it still would have hit my target. Therefore, it teaches me more. Yeah, sure, you did it well. However, you should still hold on. And there it is. I'm typing my notes in for myself later so that I know. I'm actually going to post this video and then I'm going to place it in my journal, the link to the video in my journal, so that it's easier for me to watch every single time. Got overextended, but I decided to keep recording it to see if it hits my actual level, because that was just proper training for myself. No, here we go. We're going to watch it hit my original target, plus a tiny bit extra. It's practically right there, right? I shouldn't have gotten out. There it is. Boom, boom, and there. Done. What about now? Nice healthy profit. Still, very nice healthy profit. Proud of that one. And then here's the rest of today's trades. This was the one or these two I should say, were the ones I did not follow the plan and I should have. And this was the one I said I went short on and should have held on longer. But this was over leveraged. So I'm glad I got out with, a profit.